Well, in the UK overnight, it was announced former British politician and Brexit Party leader Nigel Farage is leaving his talk show at LBC Radio, likely in part because of his comments comparing the removal of statues to the Taliban. Farage tweeted on Sunday, "A new form of the Taliban was born in the UK today. Unless we get moral leadership quickly, our cities won't be worth living in." Well, his comments come after protesters in Bristol removed the statue of Edward Colston. It's time now for my panel. Joining me now is Sky News host of Outsiders, Rowan Dean. I understand he's got Nigel Farage on the show on Sunday, so don't miss it, along with New South Wales leader of One Nation and an MP himself, of course, Mark Latham. In Sydney, well, first statues, then Gone with the Wind. Dear old Manuel and everyone else is gone, if you can believe it, Faulty Towers, and now Nigel Farage. Mark Latham, it's getting madder and madder, isn't it?
Well, Peter, I think Sky News will be the last thing left broadcast around the world, the last show that survives the censorship knife. You know, the world has gone crazy in so many respects because of this incident with George Floyd, the tragic death of that man in the United States. It just shows you how prepared the whole left-wing apparatus, the academics, websites, artistic, cultural sites, everyone's just piled in with a whole bunch of fake news and propaganda. But, you know, at the end of the day, you can identify the real bigots here. The real bigotry comes from the sneering inner-city elites, the cultural dietitians, who basically say, look, we can't trust people in the suburbs. They're so stupid out there, all these deplorables. We can't trust them to watch Gone with the Wind without falling in love with slavery. We can't trust them to watch Chris Lilly with blackface because they'll think, oh, that's really an African-American person. I mean, you know, there's a certain arrogance here and elitism that needs to be called out. That's the real bigotry at play. And, of course, people are smart. They can watch these things. They make up their own mind. They make their own judgment about these public issues, irrespective of the stupidity of banning and censoring everything in sight.
I made the point the other night, Rowan, when I watched Gone with the Wind, and my sister is named Melanie after Melanie, one of the characters. It was a favourite movie of Mum's, and I watched it in the drive-in in Birchip in those days when you went to the drive-in with Mum and Dad in the back of a station wagon. And I went home, picked up an encyclopedia the next day and wanted to learn everything about the Civil War in the United States. And I went on to study US history at university as well. And it started off a course of asking questions. Now, great art, and I'm not saying that the film is great art, but great art and films and things like that do send you on a journey of discovery and understanding. And what's wrong, we saw this last week with the episode in relation to the New York Times, you know, sacking of the opinion editor. We used to have one side of the argument put and then the other side of the argument, and we in the middle could make up our own minds. But this is thought police stuff.
Oh, it really is. And Peter, terrific editorial at the beginning. It's so dangerous what is happening now. Mark Latham is absolutely correct to say that Sky News may well be the last bastion standing. Nigel Farage says at Outsiders, which of course Mark Latham it was his idea, Outsiders. Nigel Farage says Outsiders is the only show he'll go on because like Sky After Dark, like yourselves and Andrew Bolt and Paul Murray and others, we're not afraid to have the debate and to discuss both sides of the argument. Nigel Farage's crime, Peter, was to, as you said, to compare the Taliban to Black Lives Matter. Now, let's just pause for a second. What do Antifa do? Antifa stands for anti-fascists. And basically they say they compare anybody who is not part of their team to fascists. So basically they say anyone who doesn't 100% agree with them is a fascist, and they compare them by definition to people like Adolf Hitler, Mussolini and others. They're allowed to make comparisons. But Nigel Farage makes a very simple comparison that tearing down statues, and many other people on your show and elsewhere have made the same comparison, tearing down statues is the behaviour we normally associate with barbaric groups in our history, as well as in modern times, such as the Taliban. But you're not allowed to even make that comparison. What are we getting to, Peter and Mark, where we're in a position now where any kind of thought that doesn't 100% obey the totalitarian mindsets of the left you therefore lose your job. It's complete insanity.